4 shifts that I did to build and sell a business for $1 million. Most people think that building $1 million venture requires years of grinding, venture capital, or some secret network that you're not part of. I thought the same thing, but in April 2024, I sold my psychology business for over $1 million after scaling it to over $120,000 a month in revenue. And I did that in just 18 months from start to finish while only working for 2 to 3 hours a day. No funding, no viral content, no 80-hour work weeks. And the best part is that I helped over 3,000 people overcome anxiety. I built a remote team of 10 people, and I created systems so efficient that by the time I sold the company, it was practically running itself. So here's how all of this came to be. After years of affiliate marketing, e-commerce, and crypto ups and downs, making millions and then losing everything twice, I realized that there's a fundamental problem with all these quick money methods. They focus too much on the tactics and not on the person behind the success. You see, right before I started my business, I spent months obsessing over whether I should get into e-commerce again, or try Pinterest ads, or copy that latest strategy that I heard on that podcast. I kept thinking that if I could just crack the code, find the perfect niche, the ideal pricing, the magic marketing strategy, then everything would just click. Even as a behavioral scientist, I fell for the same cognitive trap that everyone else falls for. I believed that success was about finding the right external formula rather than becoming the right person internally. And when I wouldn't get the results I'd hoped for, I get crushing disappointment. It was like I was missing out on some secret formula that everybody else knew about except me. And I know if you're watching this, you've been through the exact same thing. But here's what I discovered that changed everything. If you don't change the way you interact with life, life won't change the way it interacts with you. Your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality. And to solve this challenge, I developed what I call the RISE framework. It's the transformation system that took me from startup founder to successful $1 million exit. And that is what I want to share with you today in this video. Think of it as your growth OS. It's an operating system that programs you for success, wealth, and achievement. Just like your phone needs iOS or Android to function, you need an operating system for success to create breakthrough results. Here's my core philosophy. You don't just work your way to success. You become your way to success. You change your way to success. In order to build and exit my last business, there were certain principles that I had to operate by. Because you see, throughout our life, we mostly copy ourselves. We copy our past patterns. Think about it. You mostly carry yourself today the same way that you carried yourself yesterday. You're just copying yourself over and over. And that's the problem. How do you expect reality to change when you don't? Some things about you shouldn't change, of course. Some of your values like honesty or ambition or purpose. These are important. However, reaching new levels of success that you haven't changed before requires changing certain things in yourself. Your self-view, your behavior, your environment and circle. So for me, when I built my last business, I had to make a fundamental shift. Instead of copying my previous patterns and behaviors, I started living by new principles that would create the future that I wanted. Number 1. Act like it's already done. I started making decisions for my future self, not from my current circumstances. Number 2, I bet everything on myself. When I had an idea, I went all in. No backup plans, no escape routes, fully in. Number 3, I designed for compound growth. Every action that I took had to build towards long-term outcomes, not quick fixes. Number 4, I started surrounding myself with success. I started spending more time with people who are one step ahead of me, who are already where I want to be. And number 5, never plateau. After every win, I immediately raise the ceiling so I don't get comfortable. Minimize and normalize the win and go for the next target. So these were the rules that I operated by when I was building my last business. Now, before I dive into the framework, let me tell you a little bit about this business. The business that I built and sold was in the relationship space. I struggled with relationship anxiety myself, and I realized that there were millions of people who deal with this but don't really talk about it or don't know how to solve it. As a psychologist, I knew how to help people transform those patterns, and so I built a therapy business around it. So this was a $400 program. It was 3 months long, and people got a combination of psychoeducation, community, and therapy. The conversion rate was almost 1 in every 30 people who land on the website. It's unheard of in the industry. From idea to exit took exactly 18 months, and at peak revenue, we were doing around $120,000 a month with exceptional margins. And it wasn't just me. Some of my friends saw what I was doing and they wanted to learn how I did it. So I gave them my framework and they got great results. Vincent Hu, founder of Eminence, went from literally $0 in his business account in March 2024 to making over $100,000 a month this July, just over a year. That's over $1 million in annual recurring revenue. And Omir Deljovic, founder of FB Coaching, went from years of struggling to make paid ads work to growing his coaching business by over 200% using Google Ads after applying the RISE framework. What Vincent and Omir understood is that you don't chase tactics first. You become the person who naturally creates results, and then the tactics become effortless. Because here's the truth that everybody misses. Everyone gets an opportunity in life. At some point in your life, you will get an opportunity. Are you going to be the person who recognizes and capitalizes on this opportunity when it presents itself? Your identity is what creates your circumstances. If you're the type of person who starts projects and never finishes them, then you will start projects and you won't finish them. If you're the type of person who makes $10,000 a month and then gets comfortable, then you will plateau at $10,000 a month. And if you're the type of person who builds $1 million business and follows through completely, then you will build $1 million business. This realization led me to develop a set of questions that became the basis for the RISE framework. It's a systematic approach to transformation that fundamentally rewired how I make decisions, how I see myself, how I spend my time, who I spend my time with. The RISE framework became my operating system for complete transformation. Success isn't something you achieve, it's something you become. And once you become it, then the external results don't have a choice but to follow. And case in point, I hit a plateau at about $40,000 a month for several months in my last business when I was running it. And that's when I applied the RISE framework again. I surrounded myself with amazing founders. I watched Michelle Obama speak. I started running daily instead of just walking, and I expanded my vision of what's possible. I manifested expanding and overcoming that plateau. And that's when everything exploded from $40,000 to $120,000 a month. And all of this was when I was working less than 3 hours a day when all these systems were in place. Here's how I used the RISE framework to systematically transform how I operated and create $1 million outcome. I'm breaking this down into 4 clear shifts. Number 1, reframe. How I changed my mindset through my daily visualization practice. Number 2, integrate. Specific behaviors and routines that I implemented to integrate and cement that new reality. Number 3, surround yourself with success. How I upgraded my environment and peer group. And number 4, elevate. My approach to using wins as fuel for bigger goals. Reframe. That's a reality shift. Everything starts here. It's a fundamental shift in how I saw myself and what was possible. In studying successful entrepreneurs, I found one very interesting distinction. Most people wait for external validation before they believe success is possible. Successful entrepreneurs decide their outcome first, and then they reverse engineer their identity to match it. You literally cannot create results that don't match your identity. Remember what I said about copying yourself every day? So I had to get crystal clear about who I needed to become to create that reality. And I had to start seeing that version of myself as inevitable, not hopeful. Here's what I did specifically. I set a yearly outcome. I want to exit a business for $1 million. I set monthly milestones. Build to $10,000 a month in revenue. Build to $20,000, to $50,000, to $100,000. I started setting daily tasks. Every morning, I would set daily tasks with the vision that what can I do today to help me get to that $1 million exit next year. And finally, I would do a daily mental rehearsal, 5 to 10 minutes of visualization, of seeing myself achieving that goal as if I was already there, shaking the hand of the buyer who is acquiring my business, and really seeing it, really feeling it as if it's happening right now. So I would literally sit in silence and see myself signing those exit papers, seeing my bank account, feeling all the emotions, and imagining it as if it already is there. As a behavior scientist, I knew that I was programming my mind to see this outcome as inevitable. You see, your mind does not always differentiate between an imagined outcome and a real outcome. Stage 2 of the RISE framework is integrate. This is about embodying the new reality. Once I reframed my mindset and identity, everything about how I lived had to change. I started asking myself questions like this. What would a $1 million business founder do on this Tuesday morning? Every schedule, habit, decision, behavior had to align with my new identity. So my daily structure became this: daily learning. I started reading books and learning from people who were already successful or who had information that I wanted. Physical conditioning. I started running, walking, going to the gym to keep my mind sharp and my energy high. Mental programming. I kept doing my daily visualization of success every single morning. And I eliminated energy drains. I took out social media, news, and anything that programmed scarcity into my mind. So while I was only working 2 to 3 hours a day on the actual business tasks, every minute of my day was going to actions that were aligned with who I wanted to become and what I wanted to achieve. So most people try to work more hours. I tried to become the type of person who would create maximum impact in the most efficient way possible. Stage 3 of the RISE framework is surround yourself with success. Here's what most people miss. You are colored by the people around you. Your surroundings, and specifically people, determine whether you elevate or whether you pull back into your old reality. Your environment, and specifically the people, either elevates your new reality or pulls you back to your old one. I needed to completely surround myself with success in every way possible. So I started consuming their content. I started listening to audiobooks. I started listening to podcasts of people who already had what I wanted. I joined their spaces, events, masterminds, retreats, conferences, anywhere where people or successful entrepreneurs gathered, and I absorbed their thinking. I immersed myself in how they think, how they make decisions, how they act, how they behave. Here's a perfect example. Just 1 month before I started my last business, I attended a high-level event in Barcelona where the average yearly revenue of every brand that was there was $37 million a year. Being in that environment completely changed my perspective on what's possible, and in fact, it was where my idea for my $1 million business crystallized. When you surround yourself with success, your impossible goals start to feel inevitable. And step 4 of the RISE framework is elevate. Never settle. This is where the transformation becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. Every win becomes a proof of concept, not a final destination. I celebrated but immediately normalized all the milestones and goals that I achieved. When I hit $10,000 a month, that became my new baseline, and I moved on to the next target. When I hit $50,000 a month, I asked myself, well, why is $100,000 a month not possible? Should be, right? When we hit $100,000 a month, then if we can do 100,000, then the $1 million exit is simply the next natural step. This mindset kept me elevating my ceiling instead of getting comfortable. Each level became a launching pad for the next level. Success wasn't a final destination. It was proof that a bigger success was possible. Once all these elements align, you reframe your reality. You integrate this new reality with your behavior. You surround yourself with success, and you elevate after every win. Then the system starts running itself. You stop trying to force success and you operate from a framework that naturally creates successful outcomes. So let me show you exactly how Vincent Hu used this framework to go from $0 to $100,000 a month in just over a year. So reframe. He stopped seeing himself as someone who is trying to build a business, and he started operating as someone who is running a successful consulting operation. He set clear outcomes for the year and the month. He visualized these outcomes every day, and then he reverse engineered his daily tasks. Integrate. He became the person who naturally operates at a high level. Instead of forcing himself to focus, he transformed himself into the type of person who automatically prioritizes high impact and delivering excellence to his customers and clients. The behaviors flowed from who he had become and not from external discipline. 3, he surrounded himself with success. He didn't just network, he completed a complete success ecosystem around him. He consumed books from successful entrepreneurs. He attended masterminds. He invested in mentorship. He joined communities where $30,000 a month was normal. This completely shifted his perspective on what was possible. Elevate. Every milestone, every win became proof that the next level was achievable. When he hit his first $10,000 a month, he immediately started planning to 30,000. When he hit 30,000, he immediately started building systems for 50,000, and so on. The result? He's now consistently making over $100,000 a month, working with clients that he genuinely enjoys serving. And he did that with less than 4,000 followers, no viral content, and a small lean team. So why does this work when everything else fails? I said this before, but here's what I want you to understand. Most people try to change their results while keeping the same daily patterns. They want the $1 million business, but they still operate from the same routines. They make decisions from scarcity, and they keep their same peer group and standards. That's like trying to get different results while living the same life. It doesn't work, because here's the fundamental truth. You cannot change an effect with another effect. You have to change the cause. Most people try to change the results by doing different tactics, but you have to be different first, and then the results will come as a natural side effect. The RISE framework flips this completely. You're not chasing success. You're creating the conditions in which success is the natural outcome. You're not hoping for transformation, you're implementing it through daily consistent practices. You're operating like someone who builds a $1 million business, and the results follow naturally. So how do you apply this starting today? You're here thinking, how do I implement this? The answer depends on where you're at in this journey, but this fundamental framework applies to every scenario. Let me give you specific, practical steps that you can start implementing immediately. So, reframe. This is where you start, and you can shift your reality with these exact steps. Number 1, write down your 12-month outcome in the present tense. I am someone who, and fill in the dots. I'm someone who runs a $1 million business. I'm someone who just exited a $1 million business, and so on. Number 2, break it down into monthly milestones. What will you achieve in month 2, month 3, month 5, and so on. 3, design your weekly and daily tasks. What are your weekly and daily tasks? And you can do this week by week, day by day. What are the tasks that will help you achieve those outcomes and milestones? And 4, this is the most important part. It's your daily visualization ritual. Every morning, spend 5 to 10 minutes with your eyes closed, visualizing yourself achieving this outcome. See it as if it's already there. Feel the emotions, hear the conversations, make it as vivid and real in your head as possible. Now, I want you to start using present tense thinking. Instead of saying, I want to be, you could say, I am becoming. The second step is integrate. It's how you embody this new identity. And you have to embody it through your behaviors. So you can restructure your day with these steps. Number 1, define your behaviors. What would someone who achieves your goals do in the next 8 hours? Remember, you are what you do, and you do what you are. Read books, watch courses, doesn't matter. I spend at least 10 minutes a day reading a book that is directly related to my business. 3, physical energy. You need 20 to 30 minutes a day of physical movement. Walking, running, gym, paddle, football, doesn't matter. But you need some kind of physical movement to keep your body healthy and your mind sharp, and your energy level is high. And finally, environment design. As a behavior scientist, I could tell you this is one of the most important things that you can do. Make whatever is conducive to your success and to doing those behaviors easy, and whatever is not, difficult. So make sure that sugar is almost impossible to find in your house. Make sure that the gym is 5 minutes away from you. Make sure that you could easily access healthy food. Make sure that there's a book next to you, next to your bed, that you could just pick up and read. Third stage is surrounding yourself with success. This is about creating your success ecosystem. And you can build your success environment with these steps. Number 1, consume their content. I know it's simple, but having an audiobook or a podcast or even just a YouTube video of someone that you look up to, someone who's achieved your goals, is immensely valuable. Number 2, attend their events. Find a conference or a mastermind or a retreat where those people, those entrepreneurs, or those people that you look up to that have achieved your goals gather, and go there. I know some of them are expensive, but trust me, it's always worth it, and I always make like multiple fold my money back every time I go to one of them. 3, join their communities. Join online groups or local meetups where your goals are normal. I run a really nice community in the Growth Addicts app that consists of a lot of growth-oriented individuals and entrepreneurs, but there are other nice communities too. And 4, do a people diet. Distance yourself from people who pull you back or people who reinforce this old identity or these old patterns in yourself. And the 4th stage is elevate. Never settle. You have to transform every win into a launch pad for the next one. So you do this with a milestone reframe. Whenever you hit a certain milestone, minimize it, normalize it, and think to yourself, okay, if I hit this, then I can hit the next one. It proves that the next level is possible. So it's a baseline shift. What used to be your goal is now your minimum standard. And then you restart the cycle. You use your success to restart the RISE framework, but now at a higher level. And pro tip from my psychology background, consistency beats intensity. It's better to do this at 10 minutes a day, daily practice, than 3 hours but not do it except once a month. Your brain rewires through repetition, not perfection. So the key insight from all of this is you don't build your way to success, you become your way to success. You shift your way to results. So you become the person first and you let your results catch up to who you've become. So that's the framework. And here's the thing, there are 2 types of people in this world. There are those who consume endless content, get inspired for a minute, and then go back to their old routines. And then there are the growth addicts. It's people who don't just consume transformational content, they live it. They're obsessed with becoming the best version of themselves. Growth addicts understand that success isn't something that happens to you, it's something you become. And growth addicts intuitively understand what I learned during my time building the business, that you don't just work your way to success, you become your way to success. There are the people who hear a framework like this and think to themselves, how can I implement this immediately? So if you're watching this video, you're probably a growth addict. You're someone who's committed to continuous evolution, to never settling, and to always pushing your own limits. The question isn't whether you'll transform, the question is how fast you'll do it, and what are the systems that you'll use to make it inevitable. If that's you, that's exactly why I created the RISE assessment. Because growth addicts need to know exactly where they are right now across all these stages. You can't optimize what you can't measure, because growth addicts need to know exactly where they are across these stages. You can't optimize what you can't measure. The assessment takes 5 minutes and gives you complete clarity on your current reality versus your desired reality. It shows you which stage needs your attention the most and creates a personalized roadmap for growth. You can take the assessment by visiting growthaddicts.com or clicking on the link in the description. Whether you're building your first business or you're scaling to your next level, whether you're an entrepreneur or a coach or a consultant, or simply someone who is committed to constant growth, if you recognize yourself as a growth addict, then take the assessment. Your future self is waiting. The only question is how long you'll make them wait.